Well, welcome to Carl's death episode. And we learned that the old man Rick was just Carl's dream of what the future could hold. And I think a lot of this episode has to do with innocence lost and maybe innocence being regained. We see everyone living in peace, a future idyllic community, more of a utopia. And I think that really points out that Carl is still a child, where in his mind he sees this perfect utopic society. And here he is making memories with his sister, which I think really meant a lot because, he wants her to remember him and pass down a legacy, pictures for her to see. Here he is planting a tree, a symbolic of new life, enjoying the last moments, content knowing that he's going to die and looking at the little things like love and friendship and enjoying the little things, which we all seem to pass by in this hectic society. We all look for the big picture. And just him taking off his hat and feeling the sun on his face, that was acceptance. Enjoying the little things. That smile on his face shows it all. And here we see, we have Eugene brought back into the fold. Everyone sins. No one is perfect. And in his dream, in this future that he sees sins forgiven and people brought back, and the world has changed them. The things that they've been through has changed them. And here we have him again passing on his father's hat. His dad gave it to him when he was scared, and now he's passing it on to Judith. This could be an heirloom, a legacy that he passes on that stays within their family. And it could show that, a symbol of the old world, but a peace that is brought into the new world. And I mean peace as in Peace. This could be what he passes on to both his sister and his father. Learn to forgive, learn to love, learn to accept new faces. Understand they all came from mediocre backgrounds. Negan, Rick, all of them. And in a way, they lost their innocence because of the world and what they had to do. But they can gain it back. It's in a way, Carl can be that sacrifice. It's almost religious in a lot of ways, very symbolic. Carl dies, his side is pierced, and he sheds his blood for the world. And maybe his death is symbolic of the sins of the past being paid for because of his sacrifice. He was about saving others, about making memories to last, about forgiveness. He was willing to lay down his life when Negan came to the camp. He's willing to lay down his life for his friends because there's nothing more important than love and your friends. And he's making his dad understand that, and making his sister, who may not understand it now, but she will one day. And I like how he repents for his sins. The boy that he talks about that he killed. He understands that things can change. And here his dream is of his father, older, Michonne happy, them in a peaceful world. He like a ghost walking through their future life, able to enjoy things even though he won't be there, but enjoying them much as a ghost. Unable to interact, but able to see the smiles on the people that he loves faces and know that they're going to be okay. That's what any person that's dying, their biggest fear is knowing that the people that you loved is going to be okay. Forgiving Eugene, coming to Negan. Negan is now part of the group, which I think is really good. I like that. I like the acceptance. And of course, Rick, he's still lost in this, I did everything for you. I did everything for you. Yes, he was focused on his children, but there's a bigger picture. It's almost like he can become this Abraham or Moses-like figure that brings all the people out of bondage and into the promised land. This moment could cause him to, and probably will cause him to look at the decisions he's made differently, and in retrospect, have a little guilt for things that he's done, even though he had to do them. You can't lose your humanity. If you lose your soul, then everything that you've done, everything that you say that you've done for Judith and Rick, or Judith and Carl, it's all for naught if you lose your soul. And I think that's what this episode's talking about, is if you lose your soul, then all the good intentions you had are just thrown out. Because how can you ever go back to who you were? You were a police officer. Your job was to protect people. You can't throw that out. You have to change. We all have to change. And, him being laid to death is like the past being, or him being laid to rest is like the past being laid to rest. And, Michonne and Rick digging the grave. And then here we have Judith going up to Negan. And Negan, part of the group. And here, Rick finally realizing that he has to change his ways. He has to become different. This is the moment. Thank you all. Good night.